the single whip is a very good place to show how the head and neck flow along with the rest of the body. Remember that the head is just a head. It's part of the body. It's not the throne of your consciousness. The consciousness should be distributed throughout the body. Every part of the body should be conscious. So when I say be aware of your feet or pay attention to your feet, it's really a bad way of using language, because people think that I should pay attention to my feet from my head and look down. So a lot of people look down. I don't mean look down. What I mean is that energize the consciousness within the foot itself. So when you're stepping, let's say we come to the step at the end of this movement, step as if you're petting a cat, gently, and then place the foot on the floor and come up. Don't step like you're squashing the cat, right? So we want the step to be gentle and like you're petting that cat. Okay, so you want everything to be, every part of the body to be conscious and to be gentle and to be flowing, not just the body as a whole, but each part individually. So that we get to the neck, talking about the neck and the head. The neck and the head just flow. They're not rigid like a throne where you're looking at everything like this. It's just a part of the body. So you notice that when I do the single whip, the head is the last part to move. Now it stretches up, last part to stretch up. The body sinks down, the head is the last part to relax, and the hands, of course, too. And I press up, the head is the last part to stretch up, sinking down, right? The head is the last part, rising up. The head is the last part. And the head is allowed to move about 1 inch in a circular way, so the neck is not held rigid. The neck is allowed to be loose and fluid as well. You don't want to flop your head from side to side, but you don't want it to be rigid either. The head has to be part of the fluidity of the whole body. Otherwise, the head can actually lock the body, not only through its thoughts, but through the physical rigidity of the head itself. Okay. So we'll also talk about the hip tilting in this movement. So the hips are like the wood floating on the ocean. Here's the push. This is the correct direction. As I shift back, I relax the hips back. When I start turning in this direction, the left side of my lung is going to fill with air first, and that lifts the left hip a little bit, but now the right hip catches up, so they're both level. As I sink down, I breathe out of the right side of the ribs first, which drops the right hip, then the left side. So now they're both level and both sides of the lungs breathe out. And now as I breathe in, the left side breathes in first, which lifts the hip, then the right side breathes in, lifts that hip. Sink down, the left side drops, step, the right side drops. And now rising up, the left side rises up, the right side rises up. So when it comes to the breathing and the movement of the hips, you also have this individualization of the different parts of the body, left and right, so that the leading part expands first, then the other part catches up to it. Let me do it from this position in the push. You maybe get a better idea of what I'm talking about. I'm exaggerating. So you see this within each level of the body, the hips, the ribs, the sternum area, the head, there's this loose, fluid relationship. The body's not held rigid. And the general thing to keep in mind, if you're practicing it for yourself, is that the direction you're going into, that side of the body you're breathing in first. You have to practice how to breathe into each side individually. So that side you're breathing in first, and that side of the body lifts first because the breath is expanding and lifting. And then the other side catches up. Now when you're breathing out, the side that you're moving to, which is this way in this case, is breathing out first, and that part of the body sinks, then the other part of the body sinks. All right, now this part of the body is going to expand first. And now this part. So you see how it really helps out with the movements. That you have to practice how to breathe in. And now you do it by expanding one side of the ribs at a time. Also the front and the back, so that the back expands. And now the front expands. With the Zokinesis Qigong, we're working with that kind of a thing all the time. So we get a very precise breathing. And the breathing becomes a whole creative place where we can play and interact with the body. It's very enjoyable. Okay, now we're getting into something that's a little more difficult to understand, perhaps, but it's a very important part of Tai Chi training. As a teacher, this is something essential to know. It has to do with releasing energy upwards and downwards. And we're going to spend a little bit of time on this. The single whip is a very good place to explain it. Okay. This is what I mean. Here's the push, correct direction. Sinking down. When I drop down, I don't just drop down to here, but I want to release all of the hip area, the ribs, every part of the body down through the inside of the left leg. And spend the time to drain all of that energy down through the body. And now that energy maybe has gone a couple of feet below the ground. And now as I breathe in and press down into the ground, I'm kind of mining that energy that has sunk down before. And bringing it back up, bringing energy back up. And now up. When I come up, I want to allow the energy to flow past my head, past my hands. Let it go so that all of the energy of the body, every stretch of every joint has a chance to stretch. And then sink down. So in other words, let me show you here. I'm allowing everything to drop down to the ground through the left leg. And as I turn, I'm allowing every bit of the joints and muscles to release upwards, the momentum release upwards. Now sink down. Now at the right leg, allow all the energy to sink through the ground. And now pressing up. Energy, let it go up. And let the energy sink down the right, sink down the left. All the energy coming out of the left. And now up, pressing up. Let all the energy come up as well. So that's different than this. This is also smooth. But you don't get the sense that there's anything going on under the ground or moving up into the heavens, as we say. It's nice and smooth, but there's it's not connected to anything. It's just within my own body. That's it. So in the form, once we breathe out and sink down, we're at the end of the movement, the form slows down a little bit to let every bit of that energy sink down into the ground and let it go. When we're moving up, we want to let every bit of the energy flow up. And so the form slows down just to let everything go, and then we're ready for the next move. Right? And another important point is that you don't want to bring back the same energy that you let go of. I'll show you the difference. Here, I'm letting go of the energy into the ground. And now I'm pulling back the same energy. Letting it go up, pulling back the same energy. But you want to really let it go, and whatever energy comes back into you is new. It might just be words. It might sound like I'm just saying words. It doesn't mean anything to you, but at some point it will. So here, I'm letting everything go. And now, whatever's coming in is something new. Letting everything go. Whatever comes in is something new. Letting it go. And now, new. Letting it go. And now, new. Letting it go. And new and coming up. So not only do you want the momentum to go, like a balloon you're letting go of, but even your attention, as your own attention moves up, you want to let your own attention go. That's a very difficult thing to achieve, but it's very important. And just something keep in mind. At some point, it might mean something. But your very attention, you're letting go as if it was a balloon floating away. And now it comes back. So this whole transition between the in-breath expansion towards the heavens, which is yang, and the out-breath sinking back down to the earth, which is yin, condensing to the earth, is a very big subject, especially of Taoist alchemy. That transition is a very important place. And you want to let it go as deeply into the earth as possible and really let it go up as much as possible, so that the form is connected to the ground, it's connected to the heavens. It's not just within yourself. I see some forms like this. I don't want to put anybody down, but just to show that the form, some people do the forms that are very tight and condensed. So let's go from here. I'll face this way first so you see. See, very tight and condensed. There's no transitions taking place. Or it's like this. It's all up here. So you don't want to be just all up here or all down here. You want to have a full connection to the ground and a full connection to the heavens. And the human being being the transition between heaven and earth. And have that, take advantage of that whole ability of the human being to transition between the heaven and the earth. And that cleanses the body of chi, so that your chi is flowing, it's connected to everything around you, and it's fresh. Otherwise, it's stagnant, whether it's stagnant up here or stagnant down here. If it doesn't go through the transition, it's stagnant. We need that energy to flow through the cycles, and each in-breath and out-breath is one complete transition. Okay.